I went in and I got a beard trim, hot towel.
You got a haircut?
We got the whole 9-year little Christmas present from mom. Got it all cleaned up. Little straight razor on the face, on the head.
How'd you get a haircut? You don't have hair. How can you get a haircut?
All the beard, man. He trimmed up the beard, real nice.
Okay, this needs a haircut. This needs a haircut. Look at all this. Look at all this. Look at this genetic beauty. All right.
Yep. I'm feeling a little fancy. I got some beard oil in right now.
Oh, okay. I'm jealous. I've never done the beard oil.
Oh, do it.
I should. I need to get a beard trimmer because I don't want this to be as long as it was last year. I want to keep like what you have, something trim and nice, and I might keep it throughout the year.
Yeah. That's what you got to do. I'm planning on growing this out a little bigger, right? So I had them kind of leave this a little bit thicker, a little bit, kind of.
You should do the full. No, go full old world mutton chop it. All right, smaller here, big here. That's what you got to do.
That's where it was. I could literally just push it up, and it's just like sticking out like my finger in a socket. So I had to get tamed down a little bit. But yeah, it's a shame we can't give the people what they want tonight, but that's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. But hey, everybody, make sure that you comment below who has the best head of hair on this podcast. Welcome to episode 79.
Welcome, boys and girls. A little salt and pepper in this one.
That's nice. Right? I got like 2 gray right here, and my wife will not let me live it down. I have like 6 gray hairs in my body, and my wife finds them all immediately. God bless. I love
plucking those bad boys.
No, I'm leaving them. I don't care. I'm married, and what do I?
There's nobody else to impress. That's the key. Yeah?
Exactly. Everybody might be going, Chuck, I thought you said you're gonna have a special guest last time. And if you did hear that, thank you for listening to the whole episode last time, because that was a long one. But I had my schedule screwed up. Next week we'll have the special guest, and it's gonna be a plethora of old world talk, as you'd expect from the channel lately. As I've been doing a couple Man Reads articles these past few days.
I've been drinking down your old world content, just guzzling it.
I'm just so hyped. I just want to go.
So good. And that wasn't long. It felt like 30 minutes. I listened to that whole podcast. That was good. You guys did a great job. Good job, Dave.
Yeah, Dave did a great job.
But Dave did a good job last week. So
it's good.
Well, a stand-in. We'll call him a stand-in. Not a guest.
Well, he's part of the Strength Hammer crew. He's just like.
Is he though?
He is. He's just permanently a part of it. He's just always going to be the.
We got to give Dave some shit though.
We do, but not right now. Let him have his moment.
All right.
So, this week, with the excitement of Old World pre-orders coming up here this weekend, we're going to be talking about Age of Sigmar.
Haha. Take that, Old World. And you're not out yet, bitch.
I say this now because I do know there's actually a couple. Actually, there's a good many of people that I think are tuning in because they love the Old World content, which I love talking about. But I want to preface it where it's like, hey, hang around. We're going to do the hobby chat, do the fitness chat. There can be lots of Old World chat there. Then we'll go to Age of Sigmar. So you at least have. It's like when you're watching Warhammer Weekly and you don't care about the topic, but you still listen to the hobby, the pick of the week, and then they start talking about some Battle Tome review, and you're like, fuck it.
That's so funny. I do the opposite. I just switch right to the topic. Like, I don't want all that riffraff. I don't need the news.
No, I love their takes on the news. I love their takes on like their picks of the week. I love seeing what they're hobbying. But if it's like, hey, how do you fix Battle Tome Beast of Chaos? Like, I don't give a shit. 20-minute episode.
I generally don't make it to the end, but I give it a good whatever it lasts in the car. I listen.
Oh, I mean, with working from home, I get plenty of content time in. But we're off topic.
Sure.
First and foremost, let's make sure we get this in as usual. I think we missed it last time, but boom, there's Taylor Swift from the Taylor Swift concert I attended at last year. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. They can see that.
Last year.
That's
old news, brother.
No. That is evergreen content right there. Just like the old Terathi Daughters of Cain art I have, and then the new Terathi High Elf art I have. Boom! Look at that. We're just getting it all up there on the screen.
I have to say, haven't seen the movie, the Taylor Swift, whatever, the Eras Tour movie.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good, pretty exceptional. Pretty impressed.
She is a phenomenal
Uh-huh.
artist. Actually, to hype myself up for this show, I found a mashup. It was a 14-minute song where it mashed up 230 of her songs, and it was really well done. You know, like occasionally it was like boom, let me enjoy this roller coaster ride of emotions within 14 minutes as opposed to the 14 days.
Some dedicated fan was right there. My goodness.
Is and a skilled fan, but regardless, Neil, it's been a while. We're episode 79. How's your fitness doing in the new year?
It's actually improved, and actually improved. This is not a resolution thing or anything. My wife and I and the whole family are kind of getting together and trying to make sure that every so often we get the whole family together. We kind of work out a little bit as a family. So my daughter's about to get back into soccer. We got to make sure that knee's right. So we're doing some stuff there, and since she's doing stuff, we're all doing stuff. So I got my son doing push-ups and sit-ups. I'm doing stuff right along with them. Keep on working on my hamstring and all that. We're all going out skiing tomorrow. So that was a big Christmas gift for the family with some lift tickets, and we Facebook Marketplace some secondhand gear. So we're all going to be dead by tomorrow.
As I say, every time growing up as a child, we were not a skiing family. The skiing families were all the rich families. All right. So Neil, I think you made it. My young teenage self would look at your family and be like, "Damn, they got."
Skiing.
Yeah. Got their
what
skiing.
You didn't know about these rich skiing families is they're living paycheck to paycheck to make that happen.
Just like most of the world right now, so that's fine.
Right.
Especially after the old world releases. No, actually, truthfully, be financially responsible. Only buy what you can buy. 3D printing is the thing too. Enjoy that. Anyway.
Yeah, my life insurance or my retirement plan is my life insurance policy.
Hey, there you go.
We're just gonna go until we drop, baby. We're not planning on making a long stay here.
Anytime like I've gone on a long trip, like for flying and stuff, it's just like, oh man. Yeah. Well, if something happens, my wife's really well taken care of.
Right. It's a pirate's life for me, buddy. We're eating all the donuts, okay?
There we go. That's it. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad the fitness is going well. I had a really, really nice leg day yesterday with good buddy Alex Fithammer. We did a little arms too at the end just to get a little arm pump. Had a very, very light chest day to start the new year, a couple days before that, and tomorrow will be another workout day. So back in the groove. Starting to get back into like lifting heavy, which like the leg day was kind of heavy, so like moderately heavy, but like I can feel it. It's like yeah, you've been traveling and you've been on holiday vacation time, so like you're not lifting as heavy as you could have been. So my body's like, you're gonna be sore today. I'm like, okay, but it's good getting back into the groove. I'm not a resolution person. I think resolutions are like a trap. I'm a goal person. I'm okay with setting goals.
You wouldn't find me in a gym like in January for no amount of money. I go to a gym in January.
No, see, to me, my philosophy on that, it's like everyone's just like, it's like, okay, so the gyms fill up in January. That's fine. That happens. It's good to see people there, and like there'll be a few people that remain, a few people that just drop off because they're resolutioners, and that's fine. My whole goal whenever I go to the gym and I see all those new people, it's not necessarily like if someone asks me a question or wants to work in, like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, let me take the knowledge I have and give it to you. That doesn't bother me. It's not going to interrupt my sets or anything. But my goal every January is to at least not be the reason somebody doesn't want to come back to the gym. I don't need to be the reason for them to go to the gym, but I don't ever want to be the reason for someone not to go to the gym.
Yeah.
So it's just being polite. Take your time. I mean, obviously, you can find the times where it's probably going to be quieter if you need that. So it's not that big a deal.
There's going to be a lot of Instagrammers out there, posting their sets. I am just old enough for that to really irritate me. So.
I'll make sure I post.
It's fine if the gym's empty and it's alone. You want to record some progress. I'm good with that. But like if it's busy and you got some stuff set up and I got to walk around you so that I don't get your camera or whatever.
Yeah.
No.
Me and my two rules is I never want to interfere if anybody else is there. I don't want to be in their way if I'm recording myself doing anything. So like, it'll be like next to my water bottle. And two, I don't care if I'm recording and someone walks in front of my camera, who gives a shit? I'm honestly, I'm checking my form, and if I think it's cool, I might post it. But like, I'm not here to. I don't need to look good. I mean, look at
Right.
me. Do I
Yeah.
care about
I
what
used
all?
to,
Would
I
I
mean, I
care
used
about
to
what you
take some
people think?
videos too. When I was doing CrossFit and everything, I'd take some videos, but I'm looking at my form. I'm looking at how did I
Yeah.
screw this up, right? Like whatever.
But still,
So,
if I get a proud lift, it's kind of like if I smoke some great barbecue ribs. Like I'm just gonna be like, boom, I'm posting that shit. That feels good.
yeah, yeah.
But like I said, I'm never gonna be upset if someone like something happens. If you walk in front of my camera, I don't give a shit. That's fine.
Yeah. I hope you got
Regardless.
a nice pair of butt crack leggings for Christmas so you can, take some good glute pics
Ooh,
or
that's a good
shots.
idea. I should buy a pair of those and just wear them to the gym, see what happens. I listen. I do my squats. I don't skip my leg day. I'm not a bitch. So I got some. I got a caboose. My wife is happy with my caboose. So
There you go. There you go. Break a 2x4 over that thing.
there you go. All right, now we're talking. Neil's been deep into that wine apparently.
That's right.
All right. Anyway, on to hobby time. This might be a little bit long because we're gonna talk old world, and I won't shut the fuck up.
Mhm.
Right? Neil, tell me about your hobby. How's your hobby time been?
My
Starting,
hobby. Oof,
ending
okay,
last
well,
year, starting this year. I mean, Happy New Year, all that.
yeah. It's been actually I've been on a little hiatus.
You have a
Uh
3D printer
I
all to
did
yourself
some printing.
finally.
I know, and I haven't done shit because like right now I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with Old World. I want to get the book in my hand so I know what I can print. I don't want to print 60 Phoenix
Yeah,
Guard and find out that oh, by the way, we're not using Phoenix Guard in
it's
this
just White
edition.
Lions and Sword Masters this time. Yeah,
Right.
that's fair.
It's like, oh, well, that's a little waste of resin. So I'm waiting on that. Um, I may have an Old World secret project that I may start.
Ooh, it's dwarfs.
That's as much as I can say about it.
It's dwarfs. I bet it's
I
dwarfs.
don't want to. I don't know whether I'm going to go the route,
Okay,
but I'm very tempted. It is a different army than High Elves. I will say that.
okay.
It is one of the supported armies, and that may be my new year, new army. But I will leave it to your imagination, to your mystery, as what I
Oh,
might be doing there, and then eventually I will reveal it on said show. So
okay.
you know,
Well,
give me a couple months.
everyone, take your time over the next several months as Neil works out which of the
Yeah,
7 armies he's going to be playing. That
yeah.
isn't High
Just
Elves.
just just lay in your bed and wait patiently. Don't get out. Just let the days go so that you
Yep.
can find out what this news is. It's
Stay
going
up
to be
all
so
night thinking
spectacular.
about it.
Yes. But I have printed for the map campaign. We're all supposed to have a little like a token. It can be a penny. It can be whatever to demonstrate where your champion is on the hex map.
Yep.
So I took my champion, which was in arms. It was actually kind of fun. It's got 2 arms, shoulder pad, a head, and a body. And I shrunk it down to I don't know, 25% size. So,
Okay.
it's just kind of real small. And I wish I had it here. I'd show you. But then I had to glue the whole thing together. So,
Really small.
but now he's small enough to show up on the hex map. And so it's my champion who will be on the actual table playing. And he's
Nice.
just shrunken down in size. I did that for Dave as well. Printed out another character for Dungeons and Dragons for Dave. So that's been my hobby
Yeah, okay, I was
recently.
confused because I saw the goblin you printed out. I was like, is that Dave's narrative hero? That's a little weird because it was like a
Yeah,
World
no,
of
no, no, no.
Warcraft type
That's just
character.
an extra one for
Okay,
yeah. STLs were cheap on Hero Forge for a
well,
little
there you
while
go.
there.
Okay, there you go. I'm thinking about doing that for my army, but since I'm doing living cities, I'm gonna get like one of the extra little spirits that come with like the Sylvaneth stuff, and just
Oh
paint
yeah.
that up. That'll be my representation of champion. We're starting
Okay.
next Wednesday for our first of this campaign that we're talking about, which is this book right here.
Oh yeah.
That
So
that
and if you don't have this book,
there'll
then you
be a
don't know.
well, there will be a PDF. I'm not sure if Neil wants to make it public. We could.
I absolutely could make it public.
Okay, I mean, then I'll share it in the link below this video. It's a PDF. It is work of love by Neil. That's
Mhm.
all.
It is grammatically not sound.
Yes.
Okay, it was not very well proofread. The more I read it, the more I see that is the case.
Dave was busy.
It is what
Uh,
it is. Take it for what it's worth.
although should we give some credit to Big M for doing like a lot of work on the
Oh, 100%.
hero? Yeah, the
Yeah,
hero
yeah, yeah.
creator in here.
And he did on Big M's Power Hour go in depth on that hero creator.
Yes.
So if you'd like to find out what he did there, it is in one of the shows.
Right. So I'll try and find that show and link it below. It's probably the last one, honestly.
Yep.
And that saves us time. We don't have to go too in depth on that part for us. But
Yes.
yeah, although what's funny is next Wednesday, I think we're starting this and kicking this off in the PA side, because we'll discuss it more. And I may be a guest on a podcast that night. I have to be on it, so I'm not sure yet. But talking old world, so I may miss out on this.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm waiting to
You
find.
miss the start. You can't miss the start. The first day is the most important day. Just push it back a week.
Good. If I'm a guest, I can't really push back another show.
No. Don't push the show back. Push your start back.
Well, I'm not in charge of it. Otherwise, I would.
Oh.
Alex is in charge of it because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, Alex, I hope Alex watches this show and he'll get some tips and hints and on how to.
Well, we'll share this. We're going to share the show with everyone involved in this too, because they're not going to read this pack. We know that for sure, certain. That's why we did the Tirathi pack show, so people will actually listen to it.
I refuse to call this a pack. This is a supplement.
That's true. This is a supplement.
Age of Sigmar.
This is a Hex campaign supplement for Age of Sigmar 3.0, and it is great. Neil put a lot of work into it. It is fantastic, and we'll get there when we get there. But we have more hobby to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Right now, I'm still working on that giant project I can't talk about till it's out. Good news is it has to be done by LVO.
Yeah.
I am on pace, and I am so tired of painting models.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I should have told you about this beforehand so I could vent it. I'll vent after the fact. So this morning I was telling my wife, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm gonna go downstairs and paint and work on this project and all that." And she's like, "If you're not careful, you're gonna burn yourself out." I just looked at her, said, "Yep," and I left. Because it's like, I don't have a choice. I committed to this. I am capable of doing this. I am doing it. I will not want to paint a model after this is over for at least a couple days, but
at least a couple days.
Well, actually, it's interesting because despite being tired of painting, it's because it's not stuff I want to paint. It's not my stuff. Not that I'm putting in any less effort. It's just that's how my brain works. I was thinking about commission painting my Cities of Sigmar army, but if I get through all this and I'm just on a roll, I'll just paint it myself because if you're staring at 300 no, what else is this? Yeah, it's probably about 300 models. 300 models in 15 days. What's another 60 models in a week?
Oh my god. Hey.
Yeah.
Too much for me.
It's fun. I do look forward. I can talk about it once it's kind of shown off LVO, so it'll be fun. Outside of that, I have some random Stormcast on my hobby table. I have this wonderful box of Dragon Princes that I was gifted from my Hobby Vices, which I'm hoping they're in Old World because I'm starting a new High Elf army for Old World.
How could they not be? They got to be in Old World.
They got to be. I hope so. Yeah. And then also our good friend John DeCoulos just sent me a package that arrived a couple days ago. Just a random box. I didn't ask for it. We didn't talk about it. He just sent it to me. And I'm eternally grateful. So first in there was this little extra metal Corsair for Dark Elves. We got a Hydra. We also have a Charybdis.
Those are nice models, by the way.
They're gorgeous models. I absolutely love them. And we also have a Scourge Runner Chariot.
Look at that.
And 50 Dark Shards.
50.
50. 30,
wow.
30 on squares, 20 on circles. I said I didn't ask for this, and John just sent it to me. I was just like, you're a wonderful human being. Thank you so much. But so also I'm looking at this because it's technically my old Dark Elf army, I have almost... I'm going to steal some of these Dark Shards, obviously, put it in there, because I think I only have 20, maybe 30. Might as well bulk it up to 40. Maybe throw some of these into my city's army. A good friend from the club, Quentin, he has a Dark Elf army. probably toss some of the stuff his way that he doesn't
I was gonna
have.
say that's a
Yeah,
good pass along army there
yeah.
too to somebody in need. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a few pieces here and there, but like he'll probably get the bulk of it because it'd be more useful to he will use it. But also I'm looking at this like I could just start Dark Elves for Old World right now because I have
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Get them all on the right bases and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Which also,
Tempting.
I'm not sure if you saw, it's not a leak. We don't talk about leaks on this show because I don't care to talk about that sort of stuff. Plus, since I technically work for Games Workshop, I probably shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
But on the Old World Facebook page today, they on one of the posts, they start talking about like the Old World official page started telling out everybody, here's the base sizes for all your stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I missed it.
yeah,
Really?
it's yeah, like here it is. Not necessarily saying what's in your book, but just like, hey, all high elf cavalry, boom, you're on this. High elf standard infantry, boom, you're on this. Your bolt throwers on this, just so people could start rebasing early, which is like,
Ooh, bases for war machines, eh?
I mean, it's a very smart, yeah. Well, I mean, we knew that from pictures,
Sure.
but
But
that's a.
confirmed.
I was hoping they put out a full PDF
Mhm.
because here's the thing: GW is going to sell the bases because we're going. This is the next part of hobby. We're going to talk about Old World release coming up and our plans for it. GW is selling the bases. Great. And there's lots of options. I know Rob from Honest Wargamer, he's doing some bases. Obviously, there's Etsy, Amazon, wherever you want 3D print, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
But Games Workshop's going to sell them, which is fine. If you want to buy them from there, go for it. If that's what your pocketbook wants. But I can't buy bases if I don't know what bases I need.
Right.
So I'm now it's weird that it's coming out through the Facebook page. I still hope they put out something. Maybe there's an article tomorrow that's kind of like a big random catch-all. I'll do another daily video or Manreach article on that. But I'm hoping we just have a PDF. Here's all the base sizes. That way, if I want to rebase stuff, I know what to buy come Saturday if I'm buying it through Games Workshop. Or start printing it or whatever. However you want to do it. Like, I'm not saying you have to go through Games Workshop, but if you're selling bases, Games Workshop, tell us what bases there are. They did that today through a weird method. But still, I'm glad we know.
Yeah. Yeah, get it out there a little bit more official.
Yeah.
Por favor.
Because here's the thing.
Please,
I've already seen
please.
people upset because they've rebased stuff incorrectly.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, and here's the thing. It's because there's so many content creators out there who are like, oh, this is what the article says. Rebase. We can make assumptions. I'm like, you never make assumptions. Neil, you and I have both rebased so much stuff.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, I'm not rebasing a damn thing until I see an official document. Even with this Facebook thing, I'm not going to rebase my army off that. I'm waiting for a PDF, or I'm assuming it's going to be in the books. That would make the most sense. Till I have that in my hands, I'm not going to rebase anything.
Yeah. Yep.
So the people,
I'm waiting as well. It's there's no rush for me. Like we've
No.
said multiple times on this show, it's like I have 8th edition army right now that works, so
Yeah.
I don't need to rebase yet until the game is officially here.
And
right?
all my
And even
opponents,
then, I might not.
Yeah.
You know.
So. And all my opponents are rebasing. Like once I know that's happening, then I will make sure my bases are that correct size. Granted, I'm probably gonna be the one in my area to kick it off because I'm the one most likely to go to a tournament outside of just local stuff. So.
I think about your gaming club and the amount of fantasy that's running around there, and just thinking about everybody rebasing those armies.
Actually, you just reminded me. As a club, we may be purchasing a Skaven army, which I need to message the gentleman about before he forgot.
Why would you do a thing like that?
Well, as a club, we realize we don't have Skaven.
Skaven are trash.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying.
Rats off to you.
I'm just saying.
At least now those Eshin models have a home where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, it's there's a lot. There'll be. I have a feeling what's going to happen is we'll probably order a bunch. Okay, well, it's mostly a couple guys' armies. Some people will rebase like me. Other people will buy the movement trays. Well, we'll probably have a bunch of movement trays at the club, so we don't have to rebase every army. We could do it in a day. It's not hard, but it's neither here nor there.
I just there's some like old school skeletons and stuff like that, like for vampire counts, where if you're trying to clip off the feet that you've glued,
Oh, you sacrifice the base. You clip around the base and glue. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that too, but they're so like if you got them on there tight and you clip it wrong, baby, that
Oh
foot's
yeah.
coming off.
I I have a few high elf and dark elf models where the toes came off a little bit, so I had to like reclip it, reglue it back on, and then you just put
Yeah,
extra flock around there and you move on with your day.
it's just the worst. Yeah, I hate it though.
Which is one
So
of the reasons why I'm probably going to just start a new high elf army.
yeah, yeah. Then you don't have to worry
I
about it.
might pull a few things in because I have so much excess, but not like just
Yeah.
sure, why not here and there. But regardless,
Mhm.
Neil, I want you to talk to me about the Old World release. So Saturday, all
Mhm.
that fun stuff goes up for pre-order.
Oh, I
What
can't.
what is your plans? That's my well, I'm most curious about. What is your
I
plans?
am buying the books
Hmm.
for sure. So I am not buying any of the models. Bretonians don't interest me,
Okay,
kind of.
that's fair.
I like
Yep.
the idea. It's actually growing on me. The Frenchmen have never really never really
Hmm.
done it for me. But like the more I look at it and everything, and maybe it's because I'm getting flooded with all the Bretonian and Tomb King
Yeah,
stuff
it's
right
been
now.
nonstop Bretonian, so
And it's hard to like you don't have anything else to look at, right? So you're like, oh
yep.
well, maybe I don't know, maybe. But no, I don't think I'm going that direction.
Okay.
So I'm not going to get any of the models, but I am getting all the books. If there are cards, if there are things like that, I
Yep,
want all
there's
the things
the
for it.
spell. Yeah, yeah, all the
Yeah, so
accessories.
I'm getting all of the this kind of stuff for
Are
sure.
you
So
going for any of the dice? They're pretty expensive dice, to be fair.
no, I'm not doing dice. I've never actually. Here, fun fact about me: I've never bought GW dice ever once. That haven't
Really?
actually come in like a box. Like never done it.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, never done it. They have never really appealed to me. The crazy dice that they were doing for like Lumineth and all that kind of shit. That's just not up my alley whatsoever. If you have more than one symbol, I think we talked about this in a separate chat at
Yeah,
one
you were
point.
mad because I was showing off the dice, and you're just like,
I thought I saw
where's
two different beardy
where's the
dwarves.
symbol? And I was just like,
I'm
it's
like,
on the six. It says in
I
the
don't know.
article,
Like
Neil. Read the article.
I see Dave's Ideneth dice, and it's just
Oh well,
infuriating to me. Like I'm like
those
looking at
are
it, I'm like, I don't know what I'm seeing.
those are
I
bad
just
dice.
it really irritates me. So
Uh,
like I don't know. So no, I will not be buying any dice. Interesting. I can't remember if you guys talked about this or not, but
mhm.
recently, they showed the contents of the boxes.
Yes.
Scatter dice, but no artillery
Well,
dice.
artillery dice is in the dice packs, so artillery dice is in the game.
It is in the
For
game.
some
Okay.
reason, it's not in the box, or if it is, they just said it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it
No, we
is. All
we,
right.
we dropped
We
on
left that
that,
out.
but since they released it, yeah, artillery dice are in there.
Again, having made one of these things, any kind of mistake they make in a book or make in a release, that they
You're
leave
like,
out,
I
like,
got you. You're good.
oh, you know what? I understand why. I mean, I know I'm just one idiot, but things can be missed. So,
For sure. For
a
sure.
little grace is always nice. So that's good to hear that we got the artillery dice back. So,
Yes. Well,
all right.
my plans right now, it's definitely buying one of every book because we will review all the books on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing too, like, do I want to review every Age of Sigmar army? No, because my passion's on a select few. And I think people do it better. But Old World, there's not a lot of it, and I think people really enjoy it. And it's going to
Yeah.
be such a slower release that I think doing it on this show is fine. Like we're not doing, we can do this book, next book, one army at a time. Plus, like I said, it's its own space now. Like Sigmar, I love Sigmar. Like I do, like if when we get a new Daughters Kane book, I want to review it. Neil, if we get a new Corn book, you'll want to review it, and we'll do it on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But Sigmar is such a competitive focused game right now with the way it's built that it drives me away from wanting to cover them. Whereas for some reason it's not there in Old World yet. Maybe it's just a mind thing, but it's weird. But
What's funny is I don't know. I feel like Old World may be my thing where I lean more competitive.
it is for me, oddly enough. Like I said,
I haven't had something like that, and because the models and my ability to get hands on models and make as many of these models as I need to play the game, I can have the net. Like I don't often have the finances to make the net
right.
list, right? So if I have something that I can kind of like usually like I said, I always go to war with the army that I have. So if I have
Right.
the option of having whatever army that I want, um, you know what? We might be a little bit more competitive focused on this.
Well,
So
I'm very much more competitive in Old World, so maybe that's the reason why I don't mind book reviews nonstop, as
yeah,
opposed to like in Sigmar where I get little like I don't care how flesh eater courts work. I don't.
right.
You just tell me how it works. We'll play our game. We'll have a good time. I'll tell my story. You tell your story. You probably win. Um,
Yeah.
but for some reason, yeah, Old World, that's where it kicks in for me too. So okay, so we're gonna be a hardcore competitive focused Old World show. Watch out, everybody. Strength Hammer
Yeah, well, if I
coming
go up
for
and
you.
visit the barn, you guys are so thick into it. You can't go in there with a happy-go-lucky feel, man. You got to come ready to bang.
It's
So
true. It's true.
yeah,
But like I said, yeah, I'm buying one of every book. I'm going to buy all the cards. I have Tomb Kings. Even if I don't rebase them, I'll get the movement trays because they're magnetized. I can just space them out better. So I'll
yeah,
get the Tomb King cards. Like I said, both arcane journals, all the books, fantasy, book of fantasy ones, the Ravening Hordes, the core rule book. Um, I'll probably buy the Bretonian cards just because cards tend to sell out and not come back.
mm,
So if I ever want to play Bretonia, I have them. I don't, like I said, the release is not going to be as fast and furious with this game, so I don't mind being a completionist.
yeah,
Um, but also, I won't lie. There's a part of me that is tempted. I don't want to get the Tomb Kings box set. Um, I don't hate the dragon, but I don't need the dragon.
yeah,
Like that's just it's honestly my one thing about the dragon is I wish that they mummified it. So like the wings had mummified membrane, not membranes, but like it had the wrapping so it looked like wings. I think that would
mm.
take that model from a 6 to a
Six.
9.
I was gonna say
Yeah, it's a
six. That's
6.
funny.
It's 6. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I don't hate it. Like some people love it. Like Dave
Yeah.
loves that model.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's cool. Um
yeah. But I come from a place too where like Tomb Kings have never done it for me. Period. So
yeah.
I mean, it's like it could be a 10 in Tomb Kings, right? But I'm gonna think it's a 6 regardless because it's just the aesthetic doesn't do it for me.
Right. Like I said, and then my Tomb Kings were a gift, so that's a different story.
Yeah,
But like and also I talked to gentleman who's at the club, Mark, who painted and got me this Tomb King's army. I said I could use some more archers because I have Chaldea. So if I ever play her in 8th edition, I need more. I only have 20 archers. I could use 30 to 40 because she's the archer. You put her in the archer unit and it makes a poison, all that fun stuff. And he
yeah.
doesn't need archers because he's chariot and all that sort of stuff. So
Chariots. Mm-hmm.
he said I can take some archers from him. So like I'm not buying the Tomb King's box, but the Bretonian box is tempting because if I'm buying the core rulebook anyway, I look at the costs. It kind of works out that it's not too much more, even if it sits for a while. I get the book, I get the
Yeah,
reference sheet, I get extra trays
yeah.
and
You get
stuff.
the reference sheet would be nice to have.
It's
I
so
will say that. But
so.
I will wait, and I will hope that when the High Elf box comes out,
Oh, I'll buy that immediately.
yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I that's an immediate. I will buy that, even if I have everything 1,000 times over. I'm rebuying that. I'll buy that high elf book box.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't
Like
know.
I
We
like.
don't know what the structure's going to look like for that.
Uh,
Like, is it going to be with the core rule book? Will be different. I don't know. But like, I am tempted on the Bretonian box. Um, we will see. I'm at least buying every book, all the cards, and I may buy the generic dice. I don't really. I already have Tomb King's dice. I guess if I buy the Bretonian box, I'll buy the Bretonian dice. That way, that army has dice.
mhm.
I will buy at most one set of dice. I think either the Bretonians if I buy that box or the generic, one of the two. But I'll buy all the cards, all the
Mhm.
books. So it's a commitment going forward that you will see us review all the old world stuff as it comes out.
Have we heard? I don't know if we've heard this or not. So I guess maybe we're still waiting. I don't know. Have we heard whether the template sizes are the same
They are
size
the
or have
same.
they're
Yeah,
the same?
yeah. They said through the
Perfect.
articles that they mentioned they're the same. They technically didn't say the measurement of the flame template, but if you look at the pictures, it's the same. Honestly, it's the same orange that they use for the Horus Heresy templates, and that's the same
Okay.
studio, so it's exactly the same.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
All right, there is plenty of Old War talk for everybody there. Next week, expect more. Expect more tomorrow because I'll do another show on the article. And may the odds ever be in your favor this Saturday whenever you go to pre-order, everybody. But now,
Mhm.
Neil,
Are we
tell us
ready?
about this Age of Sigmar supplement you created because it's really cool. I'm gonna go put it on the fridge when I'm done. I'm gonna put a little magnet, put it right up there on the fridge.
Pop it up there.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've made now 3 of these books. So this is what we used to do for bars back in the day. This my screen in the back can't handle this right now because it's like
It's the same picture.
it's the same picture, right? It's the one behind me and the one with it. But this is probably my favorite endeavor that I've done. So the other 2 books were kind of for the event we were running. This is more something that anybody can use to run a map campaign.
Yep.
So you can take it. It's
it's influenced by the old Mighty Empires type map, and we've talked about that quite a bit here. So,
and I've never played the old Warhammer Fantasy Mighty Empires. I never got a chance to do anything like that.
Have a set on my wall that I picked up somewhere, but I don't have the rules, and I never played it. There's always one of those pipe dreams, so now I get to play it finally.
I'm so surprised you guys at the barn haven't done that, but now you have a map to do it with.
They're excited. Hey, most of the barn's jumping in for the Sigmar one, even though we're all excited for Old World. So
yeah,
it's a hook. It's a hook. And everybody, if you're just listening to this podcast, there'll be a link in the show notes to go bring this up or go watch the YouTube where we have it up right now instead of our faces, so we can walk through the portions and have it. But yeah, it's gonna be available for everybody. From the
PDF out there,
yep.
and you guys can all go nuts. So
where do you want to start, Neil? Where do you want to start on this?
So we got 2 maps. We're going to start this at Empires of Gyran. So right after the table of contents.
All right, table of contents. There we go.
All right, that's it. So after table of contents, you got Empires of Gyran. We've got 2 different continents that we're going to be playing on. We got Veridesia and we've got Druidia. Now Druidia is a take on something in the movie. So think of what Druidia might be.
Well, you just hold on. Restate that. You just dropped.
Comedy. It's a comedy.
Okay.
It's a Mel Brooks movie. Druidia, come on, do it.
Ooh. Oh shit! No, I'm trying to.
Druidia is from
Spaceballs. Spaceballs. Oh, okay. I was like, it can't be Life of Brian. I was just Spaceballs makes sense. Okay, okay.
Yeah, that was the inspiration for that. But
nice.
So 2 different continents. So we are playing this campaign was designed, I think I've talked about in past shows, so that we can play not just locally, but also, in different areas. So the Pennsylvania guys are going to be playing on Druidia. We'll be playing on Veridesia. And we'll see how it goes. We'll be able to maybe once, maybe twice. We'll have some people kind of shooting back and forth, trying to take each other's hexes in different areas. That'd be amazing if it happens. If it doesn't happen, that's fine too. You guys can kind of do your own thing on that island, and we'll kind of meet in the end and see, who did what. But if we want to flip down to how to win the campaign, I'm going to try and move this along fairly quickly so I don't bore people to death.
How to win the campaign.
How to win the campaign. So this is the most important thing, right? This is what we're trying to shoot for. So
exactly.
The main awards, if you will, or the main ways to win, there's multiple ways to win, right? So you got Mightiest Empire. This is the classic one. The player who controls the most hexes at the end of the game wins Mightiest Empire. We've got another one called Scarred Veteran. So your champion is, and you can go and you can see Big M's character creator episode on this. That's the champion that we're talking about in here. It's kind of a D&D kind of style character creator that Big M designed for this campaign. It's amazing. It is so cool. I think in future events and stuff, I really hope we expand upon it and we add more and more and more options. But we'll see how this kind of goes. It's going to be kind of almost like a beta test for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For him. For sure.
And we'll see, yeah. So hopefully a lot more to come from that. But Scarred Veteran, the champion who's alive at the end of the last turn, who has taken the most injury. So your champion can die in this. And if your champion dies, you have to make a new champion. Right?
It can be the same guy, but
yeah,
same model, but you gotta be a little different.
Level 1,
Yep.
But that's fine. So hopefully, what happens is we have somebody who's played, I don't know, countless battles, and you have to. If you don't roll a 2 or a 3 when you die, you just get injured. You can move on. You can heal injuries. You can do whatever else. Hopefully, we have somebody who just never rolls that 2 or 3. And I mean, this guy just scarred all up. This is your classic Mordheim character who's lost a leg, lost an eye. Whatever.
Barely hanging in there,
flapping out of their back for some reason. This is they're pretty well beat up. Then we got legendary hero, the champion that killed the most heroes and monsters throughout the course of the campaign. The campaign is run in a series of turns. So a turn is a month.
Yep.
Right. So we'll have 12 turns. And within that turn, you could be playing multiple battles within that turn. You have one attack that you can do. You have one and maybe multiple defenses, but no more than two or three battles will you ever have to play in a month.
Yeah, I think it caps at 3 games with how you have it written.
I believe that's how I had it. Yep. So, but that's kind of the way it goes. So over the course of all those games and all those turns, we'll see who kills the most heroes and the most monsters. So that's legendary hero. Empire builder, the empire who built the most improvements on basic hexes during the campaign. So we use a currency system, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And there are basic hexes like forests, mountains, swamps, coasts, whatever. And these basic hexes, you can build some of the what the improvements are the things from Path to Glory that kind of increase your army size. Like say you have 3 heroes that you're allowed in your Path to Glory army. Building these improvements gives you, I don't know, more monsters, more war machines, more whatever, so that you can start to tailor your army the way you want to build it, basically. So whoever builds the most of those will get that award. So that's Empire builder. Ceremonial burial, the empire who had the most hero deaths.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be roll that 2 or 3, and did it happen multiple times? And if that happened, that's kind of a sad thing, but sad poo-poo. But you know what? Lean into it.
Yep.
If it happens, so who knows? You might just win an award.
Just keep making it like the son of, the daughter of, the son of. Right. Just how much of that line can you go through? How quickly?
That's amazing. And then the last one is Path of Ruination. Did you pillage the most provinces? So there are 2 ways to take provinces. Well, there's only one way to take a province, and that is to win the battle and choose to conquer the province. If you don't want to do that, you can pillage the province, where you don't actually take control of the province, but instead you get a whole lot more currency that you can go spend on other things. So it's basically like you ran in there, you ransacked the town, you ran away with all the gold, and now you're going to go do something else with it.
Can you play Neil, or can you tell Neil has played a lot of Total War, Warhammer 3?
This actually has been Total War has a little bit of an influence in this as well.
Sure.
So Total War, Age of Wonders, things like that. So,
hell yeah!
All right. What else do we have? So there are actually, and so outside of that, there's narrative faction goals.
Let's instead of going through each one of these, let's talk about the ones that you and I are both playing.
Sure.
So go and do yours first.
So what these are is just kind of things that maybe you should try to accomplish through the game, right? So for Nurgle, who I am playing, where are we at here? Nurgle, control at least 10 swamp and or forest hexes, right? So what that's doing is trying to get you to narratively go to the places that maybe your faction would want to control. So if you're dwarves, you might want to be in the mountains, right? For Nurgle, you want swamps, you want forests. And then for, let's see, what do we got here? Daughters of Cain? Oh, no, your Cities of Sigmar.
I'm Cities of Sigmar. I'm playing my new Living Cities.
Take some time to get used to right there. Cities of Sigmar, control at least 2 city hexes.
Which means I'm going to be trying to build cities.
So, well, the cities will be built. You can't build cities.
Oh, you cannot? Okay. Okay.
They're on the map, and you must try to go control those cities.
Okay.
So for you, it's going to be like you're doing that. You may have control of one of your cities based on the hexes that you pick at the start.
Right.
But then you've got to go out and get another city. So that's kind of like my.
I'm establishing a trade route through aggressive negotiations.
What's the Cities of Sigmar doing right now? They're going out on the
Dawnbringer
Crusades. So you're going out there. You're trying to get another city.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of.
We're just trying, like, instead of trying to establish a foothold, we're just going to take a city that's there.
Right.
Which, although I look at the Daughters of Cain one, and I go, once again, why am I not just playing my Daughters of Cain? Control capital city that belongs to another faction. I just love that. Like, my whole plan is to be like, all right, girls, here's the plan. You see those places? We're going to go take one of them. I don't care which one. Go. And just start running around.
So the inspiration for that came from the lore as well.
Yeah, so what happened? Took Harker on.
You got it. So I figure that's what she's trying to do, right? Go out there and get more and more of the realm based on that. So that was the inspiration there.
That's good inspiration.
So those are kind of the things. So we're trying to narratively drive this campaign. Do you have to do any of that crap? No. You can just do whatever you want. But that's just something to kind of point you in those type of directions.
Right.
All right, rules modifications.
Here we go. Here we go.
So here's how we kind of build the list. Battle tactics are not to be used.
Woo!
There will be no battle tactics in any scenario you may play.
As an American, I just want to fire some guns off my hip right now in celebration wildly into the air.
Grand strategies may be used if the scenario calls for it.
Now, here's the thing. Narrative-wise, I love grand strategies, so I'm always, even if I don't get score for it, I'm always going to have a grand strategy in my army to shoot for, even if it's meaningless, because that's what I wish to do. So I like this. I like this.
Perfect. General's Handbook modified game rules will not be used in any game. So your things like your Antorian locusts and stuff like that.
That makes sense. We're going through a year here. It's going to be interesting how we handle the edition change, how drastic that change is going to be. But this is narrative. Removing it from the General's Handbook just makes sense.
I actually don't think we're going to have... the more I thought about it, I don't think the edition change is going to cause too much trouble unless they completely modify Path to Glory. And if they do, we'll just keep going with what we got.
We'll figure it out. It's fine.
Yeah, and we'll just kind of, whatever. So, like spell lores, unique enhancements, anything from the General's Handbook where you get the extra crap, that's not in play here.
Very true.
Now, endless spells are allowed. So we will be using the endless spells at their points costs throughout. Your champion will start with a command trait, but will not start with an artifact. And here's the big one that I don't know that a lot of people who have not read the rules have realized. Command traits must be chosen at random.
Yep.
Okay? You must roll for it. There are a lot of horseshit, crappy command traits, and I hope you get one.
Yeah.
Okay, and that sounds really rude, but I hope you get one because
it's
I want people
fun
to try and play with some things that they would otherwise never play with.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a place for picking whatever the command trait is that's the best one, and that's called match play, and that's fine, and do it. And outside of this event, please go nuts and go do that in every one of your games. But this is match play, and you may roll, and you might get that great command trait, or maybe you don't, and then maybe you try and figure out a little bit about how this is going to work for your character.
Mm-hmm.
Normal heroes will not be eligible for command traits unless they have accumulated enough renown. So that's a Path to Glory thing. If your guy gains enough renown without being killed, he gets command traits. So you can have multiple characters running around out there with command traits.
And as soon as you get that, he'll probably die.
Right. It takes a lot of renown, so that's probably not far off. Yep. Artifacts. You don't start out with the artifact. Artifacts can only be gained through choosing the quest, search for artifacts. And so you do your quest, you get your artifact, and that's how you start boosting up your champion. Now, your champion, just like all the bars events in the past, have 3 slots. Regular heroes have 1 slot, just like normal. But every character can have an artifact. So every hero can have an artifact in this, but you just have to find it. So you develop an inventory or like an armory of stuff, and then you can choose to put different things on different characters, however you want to do it, or heroes. So the champion will have an armor, have a weapon, and have a talisman, and that'll kind of boost their stats up a little bit.
I like that you have to put I like the next part here where you have to put in a special KO thing because KO is such a weird army. They have their own bullshit. You're just like,
I always do that for the mount.
Yeah, same thing for you guys. All right, sure.
I always have a special place in my heart for Caradron, so I have to make sure that's in there. And I honestly don't know why I'm not playing Caradron in this, but c'est la vie, I made the choice. So mounts and Caradron ships do not start with engine works. However, Caradron ships may receive 1 trait engine work that has not already been taken by completing the artifact quest.
Yep.
They can also be given multiple. So you can have a Caradron ship that is your like ship of the line that is just kitted out with all the things, right? It just sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just going out there, guns blazing. That's the one, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Mounts, kind of similar thing there as well. Core battalions are never used. We don't have core battalions. They're nonsense. They don't need to be taken.
Yep.
They're out of here.
But I like the next part so much.
Yep. So narrative battalions in your Path to Glory section of your battle tome may be used if you have completed the Form Warriors into a battalion. And this is another Path to Glory.
Because we're playing Path to Glory, technically. We're playing Path to Glory Plus.
Yes, Path to Glory Plus. This is exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Each hero may be equipped with a single artifact. We talked about that. Path to Glory rules. Regular heroes gain renown. So your list, here's another big one. Your list may not start with any unique named units. So you may not have Marathi in your Daughters of Cain army to start out with. Not happening. So you are a small faction that is relatively unknown, much like a Path to Glory, and I want you to grow your faction as such. Now you can add, so when you accumulate enough currency, we call them GP, it's called glory points in Path to Glory. When you have enough currency to add in that character, you actually have to pay extra based on my rule set to bring in a special character.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
This is where like pillaging provinces and things like that gets you extra GP. If you need that extra currency, that's what you want to do to be able to bring those kind of units into your army.
Yep.
So, but the whole thing is kind of designed so that if you're spending a lot of money on X, you're not going to have Y.
Right.
Right. So that's where the strategy comes in.
I think you did a good job balancing that, pretty much. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I mean, yeah, we'll break it as hard as possible.
We'll definitely see. Scenario command ability. So if you play a scenario like you play an old Age of Sigmar 1 scenario, this is just a 3.0 thing that has like gives you a command ability. Well, that command ability costs 1 command.
Yeah, that's a good catch-all. It makes sense.
But that's essentially the rules modifications there. Currency is again done by glory points, and this is the next page, and renown points. So we're playing our currency based on like the lowest amount that you can get in a game. So I think it's like a 500 point level.
Yeah.
So if you play the game, you get a certain amount of points just for playing the game. This is just basic Path to Glory rules. Then you get a certain amount of points if you win. You get a certain amount of points if you're your hero of renown. In this case, you can just replace that with champion is alive at the end. So you gain extra gold. But you're going to be playing a lot of games. So you're going to be playing at least 2 per turn. And then after that turn's over, you're going to spend your currency. So I didn't want to give people too much currency to the point where now you're rich and now you don't really have to make any decisions.
Right.
Basically. Like I'll just have all the things. So that's not been play tested. I really hope that it works out the way I foresee. If it doesn't, guess what we'll do?
FAQ, baby.
FAQ.
FAQs incoming.
So that's how the currency works. The map itself, we have 3 different types of hexes that are going to be on the map. You're going to have the basic hexes, which I already talked about. So your forests, your rivers, your lakes, your mountains, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have developed hexes. Those are your towns, your realm gates. I don't know what else I can think about.
Your giant skeleton dragon places.
Things like that, yeah. So those are like something that's been built upon, right? Is your developed hexes, but it's not quite like a castle, right? And then of course you got your fortified hexes, which are your castles, your big fortifications that are scattered around the board and relatively rare. Of those fortifications, you're going to choose one at the start of the event, and that is going to be your capital. And your capital is basically like a fortification plus. And I think that's all I'll talk about with that for now. So we'll move on from that. Okay. Path to Glory. This section just details a little bit about the Path to Glory rules that we will be using and the Path to Glory, the rules that just don't make sense for running a map campaign. This was, Path to Glory is great because it's kind of everything is pretend land. Right.
Yep.
But now we have actual land.
So now we need real land, yeah.
That we're actually trying to grab. So a lot of these the rules as far as finding like a mine or something like that,
Yeah, this is where you've really looked at the rule set we're using, which is Path to Glory, and going what works within the goals that you have and what doesn't, and saying like ignore this, change this, which this is where probably I know it's one maybe 2 pages.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is probably where the bulk of your work went.
Yeah.
Mentally, really you have to read this, go that, do this.
Yeah. Don't do this. And one of the things I did within this book as well is I went and I added in, found a Path to Glory PDF, and then we Let me find a page here, but yeah,
Oh,
there's one.
don't forget, Neil.
We're
We're not on video right now.
Okay, well, all right, we're not on
Yeah,
video.
but
So
in the PDF, you will see the entire Path to Glory rule set.
right, but it is X'd out the things that we're using, the things that we're not using.
Right.
You know, so yeah. Full disclosure, I'm not making any money off this book, so sorry, GW, it's in there.
Yeah.
But I'm not making money off of it, I promise.
No, I believe those rules are free on the app, so it's not a big deal. We're just tweaking them, so
There we go.
all good. But we're not selling this in any way, shape, or form for money. This is a passion project, and we're doing it for our 2 local game groups. And if you want to use it for yours, have at it.
Yes. So there's Path to Glory. I'm not going to go through that extensively. Nobody wants to hear all that crap.
The campaign turn, I'm curious about, because like that's going to be a big thing for us. And this is where it's like another level of like you put a lot of thought and effort into this. And
this is actually probably, if it's not Path to Glory, then this was the second most or about parallel amount of, because this was, as far as like running a campaign, like how do we set it up and how do I put it into rules so that people understand what we're doing, when we're doing it, and then where they have to come back to, right? And how it's going to go from turn to turn to turn, because it's actually kind of, there's a lot of moving pieces in this.
Yep.
And a lot of things that may happen at the same time. So if you find, like we have some special artifacts and things and so that you can quest for. So if you find it and I find it and we're both in the same turn, who gets it? Right. So what we're doing is I had to come up with rules to kind of filter through, and what we came up with was initiative. All right. So I'll kind of start through this. So the start of the campaign, you get 8 starting glory points, and you create your order of battle, which is basically your units that you're selecting for your army first. So we'll do that first. And then the first club day will be the start of the first turn, which is why the first club day is important, Chuck. And if you can be there, be there.
Well, I'll do my best. I'll at least be able
to maybe shift that week.
I'll be able to show up, maybe pick my place, and go, I pass on my turns, and I have to leave. Worst case.
And that's fine, because you have a month to play your games.
Right, yeah,
so you're good there. So so first club day, people pick their hexes based on a draft order. So predetermined by the amount of hexes. You guys are going to have different amount of players that we are going to have.
Right.
My continent here in Ohio has a different amount of playable hexes than your continent does.
Yeah, I think you're surrounded by water. We're only on 2 sides. We have a couple more spaces to go.
So your starting empires, by default, if you have less players, are going to be much bigger than what ours are. I think we have 12 players on our continent, maybe 12 or 13.
Yeah, I think we have maybe 8 to 9.
Yeah, so yours are going to be significantly bigger,
right?
Which is okay. It doesn't really change too much, other than the fact that it's maybe harder to get in and actually kill off an opponent.
Sure.
Right, which is fine. Which is actually a good thing, because that means everybody gets to play through the entire event instead of getting nuked off the board in 3 months.
Fair.
Then
fair.
You're done, right? Step 1, players will randomize into initiative order. So initiative order is going to be kind of a big thing that we do, so that if things happen at the same time, whoever has the initiative, they win.
Yep.
Right. If I find the big dick, sword, and you find the big dick sword, I'm higher in initiative. I found it first.
Yours was a fake.
Right. So that's the fairest way I can figure out to do that.
Sure.
So that's going to be done by either dice rolls or draw names from a bag. It's going to be randomized, per turn, which way we're going to do that. So players will choose their fortified hex as their capital by initiative order. So kind of like a draft. Okay. So Chuck goes first. I go second. Then players will choose a predetermined amount of hexes to create their empire. So you're kind of going, chosen hexes must border at least one other hex that you control. So you're going to, and then chosen hexes may never be adjacent to another empire's capital. So you can't pick something that's right next to somebody else's space.
Right.
Otherwise, that could get kind of cheesy.
Yep.
Step 4, let's see. Oh, mega hexes count as 3 hexes.
Right. He's a
So mega
few
hexes, we have
the
like
big
a
dead bone
giant volcano,
dragon,
yeah,
volcano.
big bone dragon area, whatever. Those hexes count as 3 hexes for your selection. All right. So step 4, players may place a token on the board to indicate which hex is occupied by their champion after they have chosen their hexes. So you plop down your champion. This is where my champion is. You can always attack from different hexes. Your champion isn't the only thing that can attack. Your champion can stay still. Your champion can move. But this is where your free champion, if somebody fights a battle in that hex, is going to be.
Right. And if you do a battle where they're not a part of that battle.
Correct.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it so far.
Yeah, so this is not meant to be balanced. Okay. But it is meant to be, not crazy off the cuff either. I don't want you to show up to a battle and be like, why am I even here? Right. So it should still be competitive from a standpoint of, you know what, I might have to go nuts. I might have to really, work hard to get this victory. But it's not going to be like I play with 2,000 points, you play with 2,000 points.
Right. And hopefully everyone showing up is bringing the appropriate style lists and that sort of stuff, like fun over competitive. If someone brings competitive, we will shame them with the bell.
Yeah.
Until they correct.
I mean, you can do it, but I mean, the Path to Glory rules in particular are going to make that a little bit harder to do.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You have to build the improvements to get to that point.
Right.
You're not going to be able to build the big dick dragon list, right, for Stormcast. At least I don't think you will. Maybe you will, because you're not allowed that many monsters.
Right.
So how do you make that work? Right. All right. So let's see, where are we at here? So players can choose to pay GP glory points, anything about gold, glory points, whatever, to scout, ambush, or fortify a hex. So before you fight your battles, you can pay some of your starting glory. You can so in the back of this book, I have right here a bunch of hexes. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I mean, I can, but no one else can right now.
Well, so there's a bunch of hexes. What you're going to do is you're going to kind of draw out your army and or your empire, and you can choose one of those hexes to like set an ambush in, and or to fortify. So basically, you're giving yourself an advantage in the hex. And we'll talk about that. What that means.
I do like in the back of the book specifically. I can put my whole army in it essentially.
You can do what? I'm sorry.
Like I can put my whole all my details. Like you have a tracker for all my important information.
Right. So that's, I kind of took that from you. Like I've always kind of put in things that you could photocopy in the back of these books and everything. But I know you are one that likes to write directly into the book. And so I thought about that while I was making this. So I'm like, Chuck can take a dry eraser marker and just go nuts in there. Do whatever he wants.
No, I'm going pen, baby. We're going hard. Because if I put a pen down and I say I'm playing Cities of Sigmar, I won't somehow find a way to switch to Daughters of Cain. Most likely.
It's not too late, by the way. It's not too late.
No, my lore is in this book, all right? It's there.
That is true. All right. Let's see. So after that, players choose to invade with the hex that they want to invade. So
you can pass.
Now you're picking, okay, based on initiative order, I'm going to attack this hex. Because this is the other hard, difficult thing about a map campaign is deciding who attacks what when.
Yep.
Right? You got 12 different players. They're all going to attack a place. What happens if 4 people attack the same hex? Right? What happens? So these are all the things you have to think about if you're running a map campaign and you have multiple players in it. When does this stuff happen? Can people attack the same hex? Can they not attack the same hex? Is once where are the armies? Is your army there to defend? How do you want to do it? So all these kind of things is what I kind of had to think of, having never played Path to Glory, or not Path to Glory. I'm sorry, Mighty Empires. I just kind of coming up with this stuff on the fly. So here's to hoping it doesn't suck. But so you're going to choose where you go.
Yep.
A player may choose to pass on invading a hex as well. So there is a reason for that. So Path to Glory rules: if you fight a battle And if you take casualties to your unit, you have to roll on a casualty table. So if I have a Stormcast unit of 10
Mm-hmm.
and I lose 6 guys, I got to roll 6 dice. On a 1, that guy's dead.
Yep.
He ain't coming back. Now you can choose to pay GP to recoup these guys and you kind of get your unit back up to strength.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's a spot where you have to pay currency. And if you're paying currency there,
Yeah, pay
you
it
may
elsewhere.
not be adding a unit. You may not be building an improvement. You may not be improving your capital. You may not be doing a lot of different things. So you have to choose. So when you're fighting your battles, you have to be very careful about losing units.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just I've got this shitty chaff unit and I'm just going to throw it in front of you and they died. That's what they're supposed to do. Well, you might have less of them next time.
Right.
Right?
Or they take that and they get scarred and they become better somehow.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden your chaff unit starts becoming this weird anvil unit and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And that's the other thing with Path of Glory is your units gain renown as well.
Yep.
So as they survive, as they improve, they become veteran units with different once per game abilities. And your unit of Blood Reavers all of a sudden is actually killing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of a neat thing too. So obviously a lot of bookkeeping phase in this as well.
Right.
So now you move your token. The next thing, you choose to invade a hex that's adjacent to a hex containing your champion. You may include the champion in that battle. So if you want, you can move your champion into evade a hex.
He can hustle over.
That's your move. That's your attack. Okay. You don't necessarily have to attack with the champion. You can move him defensively somewhere else.
Right.
In your territory, right? Generally speaking, champions move 1 hex. There are different factions where the champions are faster than other factions. So Slanesh gets to move. We're moving, baby. We're moving that champion. All right. So there's a lot of different rules for the different factions that are kind of baked in. And there's a narrative reason. If you get to move your hero faster, then there's a narrative reason for it. If you're Ideneth and you're on the coast and your champion's on the coast, guess what? He gets to move a lot faster because he's by the water.
Do you get to? Does that count for rivers too?
I don't remember if I accounted for the rivers or not.
Well, it's in here somewhere. So read it up, and if you know that answer, put it in the comments below in the YouTube video.
It's in there somewhere. Yeah. Let's see here. All right. So once that's done, you fight your battles. Okay, this is where we're going to start for most club days.
Now, real quick, one question I had here, actually. Do we redraw initiative every club day?
You will redraw initiative every club day.
Gotcha.
So
okay, that makes sense.
If I didn't put that in there, then yes. So attacker, so when you attack, you choose a quest. You do that quest until that quest is completed or failed. Usually, they have to complete at some point. You're going to accumulate enough to complete the quest by just playing games. So it's going to happen. You can always, if a quest is taking too long, you can switch to a different quest.
Yep. And there's some beefy quests in Path of Glory.
Yep. Now you're going to be playing a lot of games, so those quests are going to get done quicker than normal. But we've got some quests that I've put in there for some beefy artifacts. We'll get to there later. That will take longer.
Yeah.
So, fight the battle. Let's see here. So you choose a quest. You determine the number of players in the battle. Okay. So if different people we can have multiple people attacking into the same hex. All right. Then you're going to play almost like a triumph and treachery battle. So if I say I'm attacking into Chuck's hex, somebody else says they're attacking the same hex that Chuck has, and somebody else says they're attacking the same hex that Chuck has. We can have up to 4 people in the same battle.
Yep.
Those people then need to choose whether they're allied or whether they're opposed. Right? If you're opposed, you just get your and we have to determine how many points are we playing. Any Path to Glory battle, we determine what amount of points we want to play. They don't all have to be 2,000 point battles.
Right.
You may not be able to make 1,000 or 2,000 points. So it might be 1,000 points. So you guys are going to kind of decide together, how many points are we going to play? If you're allied, then what you do is, and if there's 2 people playing that are allied and 1 defender, you're going, and that defender gets 1,000 points. Then ally number 1 gets 500. Ally number 2 gets 500. So it's an even game. Again,
Yep.
if I gave you both 1,000 points and you just donkey punch this guy,
Fun.
there's no
Why are we here?
battle there,
Yeah, why are we
right?
here?
There's
What are
no
we doing?
battle,
Yeah,
right?
what's going on?
So again, like it's meant to be, um, it's not meant to be balanced, but it's meant to be still somewhat doable, right?
Right.
So that's the way that'll work. You choose a scenario. So the way I'd love for it to work is, Chuck, you choose a scenario, I choose a scenario. If it's the same scenario, we either decide which one we want to play or we roll off.
Or
Whoever
you,
wins.
what I like, you put in the battle plan generator.
I did.
Yeah, I like that because that it just you don't have to argue. It's just like hey, you roll dice, roll dice, roll dice.
Right. So you can do a battle plan generator that's in this book. And that's based on like open play battle generator for
Yep.
3.0. They kind of moved it around. So that works. The other thing I'm going to be doing is every so often, I'm going to throw out a suggested scenario. So through the campaign, I'll be throwing out a scenario that if you want to play, you can choose to play this.
Yep.
The only thing, we're trying to stay away from the match play scenarios. If you really want to play one, I'm not going to.
Well, actually, what's really nice is in the White Dwarfs lately, because they have the Warhammer or White Dwarf Bunker, which is like a community club type thing. They're putting narrative scenarios for 40K and Sigmar in there.
Perfect.
So that's
Any,
it's written for us.
yeah, any scenario like that, anything from any of your old books, anything that's in your battle tome, the scenarios in your battle tome that nobody looks twice at, right? You can pick that scenario. Like, you can play anything that you want.
Yep.
With restriction. If you set up an ambush and your ambush goes off, somebody attacks into your ambush hex, you play the trap.
Nice.
That's your thing. All right. So the defender always chooses who goes first. There's no roll off. There's no anything. The defender gets the bonus. The defender gets the onus of saying, I want to go first or I want to go second.
There you
So
go.
in all of these scenarios. So that's meant to kind of help the defender a little bit, try to keep their territories. And if you're the attacker, then you've got to work a little extra hard to get in
there. I like it.
Okay. So yeah, we fight the battles. We determine who wins. In the battles, we adjust for negatives and positives. We'll talk about those. Negatives and bonuses is what I call them.
Yep.
And we'll move on
to the end of turn.
So, and a turn, aftermath step. So here's where in Path to Glory is basically where you spend your currency. I'm not going to go through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
but you spend your currency, you build your realm.
Mm-hmm.
However you want it. You build your army, however you want to do it. You spend the things you gain, right? And so after that, and this is where also you have an option of doing diplomacy, right? This is wild, right? This is the Wild West. You can, at this point, go talking to other players and say, hey, here's what I want to do. I'm trying to do this. Will you help me do this? I want to try and do, whatever. And so now you're building a, diplomatic.
And this is going to be my favorite phase.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you can spend your currency, like, listen, boss, I got 5 GP here. I need you to attack so and so on the next turn.
I'm that dark elf with the silver tongue. You better watch out. Even though I'm playing humans, you watch out.
So this is where we're determining what the next steps are. So this is where you're saying, okay, I'm going to attack in here. Okay, I'm going to attack in here, but you're not actually fighting the battles. This is the end of the turn. This is where you're determining where you're going to go after the diplomacy, after all that kind of stuff, and then the turn ends. So then you have the next turn.
Yeah, you determine. You put in here determine the initiative for next turn. So that it is in here. Perfect. I missed that.
Perfect. So I wrote so many rules. I got to remember myself.
That's fair.
So at this point, this is where when the turn ends, then you have a month to fight your next battles. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 battles that you have to play. If you ever can't get to a battle, try your best. We're all adults. All right. We have lives. Things happen. We have to be on podcasts. You're not going to be able to make things all the time. If you can't make the battle, all right, and you can't defend the battle, then I hate to say it, you lost.
If you're not there, your army's not there.
Your army wasn't there. Your hex got invaded. The space is gone. They win. All right.
Yep.
And they move on. Now, they don't get all the bonuses, of course, of actually fighting the battle, but they will get the bonuses of
You've ceded the territory to them.
the base. Yeah.
So if your capital's about to be attacked, you better be there next month.
Right. You better be there. Yes. The other thing I want to say is if you're choosing a hex to attack, it costs a certain amount of gold to even attack a hex.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
basic hexes are cheap. Developed hexes cost more. Fortified hexes cost more. Capitals can cost an egregious amount of GP to attack. And that is done purposefully. So, like, if you're going to attack Hammerhall, you better have made some supply lines.
Yep.
You're going to have to spend a lot.
You've
to gather
equipped your army thoroughly, all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, if you're hitting the Varenspire, you better hit. You can't just come in with some small force, right? You better come in, and you got to come in hard. It's also meant to keep people from getting run off the board in 2 turns.
Right. Yeah, which makes sense. It can't be overrun too quickly.
Right.
So we have a whole year to get through this.
You got it. So anyway, so that's how that'll work. We'll skip the rest of that. We talked about hex tiles. We talked about the improvements. We'll move on from that. We will spend. So we talked about fighter battles, really. So fighter battles, I guess we can talk a little bit about the army-specific bonuses and negatives.
Oh, there we go. Let's get down to there. Boom.
There we go. City. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ours, so we can move on from this pretty quick.
That works. Let me talk. I'll start. Cities of Sigmar.
Mm-hmm.
Bonus: defending a developed town or settlement hex. Negative: attacking chaos developed or fortified hexes. That makes sense. It's pretty basic. If it's mine, I want to hold it. I don't want chaos taking it over or anybody. And if I'm fighting chaos, that's like, well, I'm just a normal human. And some basic elves, like shit's
my
weird.
My thought there was like they're going out on these, these grand crusades, right? And if they run and bump into, some crazy chaos fortification, that's not going to go well.
Right. Right. And I look at the Daughter's Cain one, I'm just like, defending when performing an ambush. Oh my goodness, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. I wish I'm not playing Daughter's Cain.
Yeah.
But I wish I was. I love it.
All the Daughters of Cain stuff was thought of with you in mind.
I know. I've made mistakes. It's okay. Oh no, it looks like Neil's frozen there briefly for us. But as we do that, we'll take a look at his. So he is playing. What is he playing? Oh, Neil's back.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back. What are you playing, Neil? I forgot already.
Okay, I'm playing Nurgle.
Nurgle, that's right. So we'll scroll down here to Nurgle.
All right, Chaos Factions. Nurgle, attacking Sylvaneth and defending a forest or a swamp.
Which makes sense. We're in Gairan, so that battle is fierce and hot and heavy.
Right. So defending against or attacking death armies. So death armies for Nurgle are kind of like so Nurgle
he's about life.
Really get diseased. Or death can't really get diseased very well, right? Yep. So death is kind of an anathema to Nurgle a little bit. So that's why that's put in there. Everything I kind of put in there, I had a narrative reason for. You might not like them,
but they were there.
I had a narrative reason for doing it. And then the way that the bonuses and negatives work is if you get a bonus, you get plus 100 points that you get to spend in that battle.
There you go.
All right. Bonuses can stack, and they can stack up to 200 points total.
Nice.
You can never have more than an extra 200 points. All right. So maybe you're getting an extra unit or 2 out of that. So maybe you can go over, if it's 1,000 points, you're like, ooh, I wish I could fit in this unit. That would take me to 1,050. Well, now you can.
Nice.
Right. So it's just a little bit of an extra bonus. A negative, if you have a negative, it's minus 100 points.
Ooh, right? Okay.
So you could have pretty big swings in this.
Yep.
And what that does is you probably want to avoid the negatives, right?
Do your best to, at least, right?
Right. So you may want to pick and choose your battles wisely in this to either avoid bonuses or to avoid to try and achieve bonuses or try to avoid negatives. So that will kind of filter you into different type of hex selections.
Nice.
Which hopefully will be more narratively based. So you won't see Nurgle in a lot of mountains. Maybe.
That's the goal, unless they're pushed back into them for some reason.
Right. Right. Or maybe you, and even then, I suck. So I might have all the bonuses in the world. I might still lose. Right.
Yep.
But I'm going to take them to try and enhance my ability to win. Now this is probably if things are going to get wonky and wild, this is probably where it's going to happen.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. But it's all done. It's
We'll
done in good
see.
faith.
If something ever does need to be dialed back, we'll dial back. I'll let people kind of come to me with gripes and whatnot. I may say, and hopefully Alex may make these decisions as well, whether he thinks things need to be shaved back or what. But
Sure. Yeah. No, we're gonna rely entirely on you.
But in general, it shouldn't be more than a 200-point swing, one way or the other, and that has to be. It'll be a pretty rare occurrence.
It makes it hard, but not impossible.
Right.
Perfect.
So, I mean, if you're Bill Zuzza and you take 500 points to my 1,000, you're probably still beating me, right? Let's be honest.
Only there's objectives. This is snares. We got chances, Neil. We got chances.
Yeah. So the next thing is strategic considerations, and so this is where we put a little strategy into the board itself.
And Neil, I need to step away for 1 second while you run through this. So,
sure.
Talk about it at length. I'll be back in a moment.
Perfect. I'm going to pour myself some wine while I talk about this as well. So the three different strategic considerations we got is scouting a hex, setting an ambush, and fortifying hexes. So we kind of talked a little bit about when you will do that during your campaign turn. Kind of after that first spot where you fight your battles, you can choose these hexes. So you have to pay GP for each one of these things. Now, some factions have a bonus. Some of the negatives and bonuses that you get are not actually giving you extra points in the battle. Some things let you scout hexes for free. Some things let you set ambushes. If you're a Skaven player, you're going to set your ambushes pretty easily because that's what you do. If you're a Beastman player, setting ambushes becomes a little bit easier. So factions that you would assume could do these kind of things, I've tried to kind of filter a little bit more towards it. But scouting a hex means whenever you scout an opponent's hex, it must border a hex that you control. You discover improvements. So anything that somebody's built on it, you can figure out, oh, that's there. I want to go attack that hex. And when you take a hex over, or if you pillage a hex, you destroy the improvement. So now their army no longer has that option in it anymore. So if you got something that improved your war machines or your ability to take, big ships of the line for Caradron, and you just got that hex taken, well, that's something to know. So you can scout that and be like, that's where I want to go to kind of limit that guy's army. So enemy movements revealed. Roll a dice on a 1 to 4. Nothing happens. On a 5 plus 100 points of potential bonuses of your opponent has, if you choose to invade that, they lose essentially 100 points of their bonuses. So if you scout a hex and they would have a bonus there, you roll a dice. On a 5 plus, they lose their bonus.
Ooh, that's fun.
All right. So on a 6 plus, an opponent has planned an ambush in that hex. It's thwarted. So if you scout a hex and you had an ambush in there and I roll that 6, you no longer have an ambush in that.
You found it. I like it.
Right. Okay. Setting an ambush. This also costs GP. If it's performed prior to opponents choosing a hex to attack. If that hex is chosen to be invaded, you have successfully pulled off your ambush and will play the trap. The defender will always choose who goes first in the battle round. Any bonuses that your opponent's army would receive are otherwise nullified, and any negatives your army might have received are nullified. So evens the playing field there a little bit.
Yep.
So, and you will get the benefit of starting in the trap, which is the scenario where you're basically surrounding your opponent. Again, if you've played any Total War before and you've run into an ambush,
feels
and you've
good.
Got the army coming from both sides.
Feels good if you're on the ambushing side. Feels good.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. So hopefully that will give that kind of feel. Fortifying a hex is one I kind of put in late. Fortifying a hex against invasion costs some GP. To fortify the hex, you pay it, and then you note down which hex you've fortified prior to the opponents choosing their next attack. May only be performed on a basic hex. So you're out in the middle of the forest, you're putting down your stakes, you're building up your fortifications real quick to try, if you get invaded in there, you're ready for them. Okay. Fortified hexes give you a bonus of 100 points if you're attacked in that hex. Remember, you have never can exceed 200. So
Yep.
that's a way to kind of get a little extra beef to your army.
Love it.
The other thing we have in here is snaking. So if you control hexes out in a line, basically, kind of through the hex, if you get that line interrupted, then and somebody invades your hex and takes it, you lose all your hexes that are further away from your capital.
It's just what is it in the movement? We have to not consolidation.
No, I know, yeah.
The word's escaping me.
It's escaping me right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coherency. It's your coherency rule for your empire. Your empire has coherency rule. Deal with it.
It's map hex coherency is what it is. So if you're trying to make for somebody's capital, by all means, try to do that. But if you lose, you're going to find yourself a little bit on the back foot. Yeah. Also, if you're doing so with your champion and your champion's caught out there, he immediately is removed off the map, returned back to the nearest hex that you haven't lost, close to your capital, and takes an injury. If he's trying to make his way back through enemy lines,
he may die.
He may desperate die. Mad dash, right? So, yeah, he may die. He may die trying to get back there too. So you got to be extra careful, especially if you're doing that with the champion.
Heck yes.
This particular part, this is Battles in the Realm of Gairan. This is this is kind of like
just narrative fun.
This is narrative fun, right? We're playing in Gairan, and Chuck, you challenged me. You said
I did.
We're playing in Gairan. Why do I care that it's Gairan? So here we are.
Yep.
We're playing a full year, and I thought to myself, okay, well, this is Gairan. This is life. This is a full calendar year that we're playing in this. So let's do 4 seasons, 3 months apiece, and we'll have some different rules for each season. So winter, which is what we're going to start in, January to March. Life hibernates. Any attempt to heal takes a penalty of -1. Example, if you roll a D3 to heal and you roll a 1 or a 2, you cannot heal as it has been canceled to a 0. Okay, so you can, if you try to do a heroic recovery, you roll a 1 or a 2.
You don't heal at all.
You get nothing and like it.
Yeah, sorry, things are cold.
For Nurgle, my entire army heals 1 every turn.
Not for these first 3 months.
Nothing. Not for this first 3 months. That rule is out of here. And so probably for the next 9 months, I'll forget that it even exists.
Well, no, you'll probably remember because you're going to get to spring and you're going to be like, I heal too.
Yeah.
You'll remember immediately.
Spring is great. Any attempt to heal is increased by 1 in spring. So Life Blooms is the name of that. Summer, the Wild Hunt. Battle line troops increased rend by -1 when attacking a monster in the combat phase.
So fun. Because you know what? What's a battle line troop for Sigmar? Fusiliers.
Yikes. Love it. Fall. You're going to have a good summer. Fall.
Oh, no, you put combat phase in there directly. Oh, darn it.
Did I really?
Yeah, you know what? I'll just have to make my my sorceress my general for the army list, so that way my blackguard who have -1 rend can get -2 rend against monsters.
There you go.
There we go. I can get it.
All right, fall. The last 3 months of our campaign, we have a bountiful harvest. Choose a unit that took casualties in your game. That unit does not have to make casualty rolls in the aftermath step. So if you have a unit that got decimated and you don't want to lose any models in it, pick that one. It's good to go.
See, here's the thing. I'm waiting for there to be like 3 or 4 people that have the heroes that are like, they're all tied for that award, and they choose to take the casualty.
Right.
Like, no, I'm going to take it. I'll risk the death. I want that award.
That'd be amazing. So outside of that, we have basic hex rules during battles. So these are rules. Again, I try to be narrative with these rules. So if you're playing in a forest, there's going to be an overall rule for your battle. Yep. Okay. So in the turn, we may have 2 people who are playing in a mountain, 2 people who are playing in a forest, 2 people who are playing in a swamp. Why do you care? Right?
Now I do.
So these are different rules to kind of affect the game a little bit. So forest, you're playing in Gairan. So we've got Sylvaneth Wildwoods. So roll a dice when any unit that does not have the fly keyword makes a charge move. On a roll of an unmodified 1, that unit cannot charge. as it is tripped up by Gairan's lashing undergrowth. Sylvaneth and Beastmen are not affected by this rule.
Love it.
All right. Swamps, bogs, and marshes. All cavalry units that do not have the fly keyword have their base move reduced to a maximum of 6 inches. Right? Swampy, you're not doing much with the horse in a swamp, right? So it's out of here. Lakes. There are not a whole lot of lakes on the map, and neither on your map either. So this probably won't come in too much. But lakes are. I'm not going to read through the whole rule, but basically, heavy armor. If in history there are some battles where people are forced into watery areas, and that never goes very well for people who are wearing heavy armor. You die. That's exactly what happens. So that's not good for you. If you got heavy armor, there's a rule in there to make battle shock tests a little bit worse. So if you try to run into the water, you're going to drown. Mountains. Units with fly keyword can re-roll charges.
Makes sense.
So if you're flying and you're in a mountain, you got a little advantage, right?
I guess.
Hills. Add +3 to the range of shooting attacks for units that do not have the fly keyword and are not garrisoned within a unit that has the fly keyword.
I'm real tempted. This makes me want to go get a cannon for my city's army if I get some hills.
Right. Yeah. There are not a lot of rules on our map, or not a lot of hills on our map. So that may not come into very much effect on ours.
Sure, yeah.
Rivers. Any unit that makes a charge move across a river piece must take D3 mortal wounds unless that unit has the fly keyword. So if you're trying to charge across a river, also probably not very successful, right? In the absence of an adequate river piece, consider the river to be the middle 6 inches of the board from the longest edge.
There you go. That works.
Mm-hmm. So volcanoes. At the start of your hero phase, roll dice for each unit on the battlefield. On the unmodified roll of a 1, that unit takes D3 mortal wounds. Kaboom. Right? And then finally, coastals. All attacks in the shooting phase gain +1 to hit. So coastal, the reason why I did that is coastal territory shouldn't have a lot of terrain on it.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty open, right? So easy to see people, easier to shoot people.
Yep. I like it.
All right. The last one, I guess, maximum range. So cities or towns. Maximum range for all shooting attacks is 12 inches. A lot of buildings, hard to see. Unless your unit has the fly keyword or shooting at a unit with the fly keyword. So fly keywords are good.
Yes. Neil likes
you want
flyers.
To fly if you want to avoid terrain penalties, right? So the terrain's not going to affect you if you're flying over top of it.
I wish I had a single flyer unit in my city's army. I do not have a single one.
You know what you do have flyers in?
Daughters of Cain.
That's true. All right. The next thing is fortified hex rules. So siege battles. If you fight against a castle, we have. I know you can't see this.
It's on screen. Don't worry. It's on screen. Don't worry.
Perfect. There is a specific scenario that is made for castle battles.
Yep.
So this is another thing. Haven't play tested it. If we got to change it a little bit in terms, what you basically do is you set up a castle or a fortification. You've got towers. You've got like the ramparts. So we call them walls. And you've got a gate. Those are the 3 scenarios. And inside of the castle, you have to make an 11 by 15 area. And in the middle of that is an objective. And once the opponent controls that objective, game over. All right. The walls have a certain health and a certain armor save. You can blow up a section of the walls. If there's a unit garrisoning it, that unit's killed with the wall. So I think I set them at like 2+ and like 20 wounds, 15 wounds, whatever. Those may have to be played with because that might be
too much or not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but we'll see. You can also choose just to kill the unit in it. And if the unit is gone, you can move over that section.
Oh, there you go. That's not bad.
Okay. So it's, again, you think about your total war, they're putting those ladders up, they're doing whatever. Once the unit's gone, you can kind of go over top that area and then invade into the castle.
Or just take the gate. Go right into front.
Or you take the gate. And the gate is the most vulnerable area, right? So that's the easiest one to blow up, the easiest one to kill. And yeah, so from there, let's see, siege battles continued. So this is kind of an interesting thing I did here as well. Before you choose to attack, like so let's say you know you're going to attack into a fortified area. So when you're kind of in your end step and you're choosing where to spend your currency, you can, as a defender, if you think somebody's going to attack you, you can spend some GP and you can add burning oil or an acidic concoction. So when an enemy unit finishes a charge move against any fortification component, it takes D3 mortal wounds. So you pay a couple extra, you get some free mortal wounds whenever somebody charges one section of your fortification. Right?
Very nice. Yep.
As far as the attack goes, you can build siege towers. Units attacking a garrisoned unit ignore the always strikes last rule. So if you're attacking a garrison unit, you have to strike last. This allows you to ignore that. Battering ram. Once per game, the infantry unit that completes a charge move against a gate causes D3 plus 3 mortal wounds after the charge is completed.
Love it.
Sappers. This one's kind of neat. I tried to only allow armies that I think would have somebody that would not worry about a unit dying.
Right.
So you got Stormcast, because if Stormcast dies, they're just going to get reforged, right? Chaos, they don't care. Destruction and death, they also don't care, right? So what this does is once per game, at the start of the game, nominate one infantry unit with a wounds characteristic of 10 or more to be a sapper. If that unit finishes a charge move within 1/2 inch of a fortification component, that fortification component takes 4d6 mortal wounds. Do not reveal to your opponent which unit is your sapper. The sapper unit is destroyed after it makes a successful charge. At the end of each of your movement phases, if your army has a sapper, the defender rolls the dice. On a 5+, the sapper has been noticed by the defender, and you must reveal which unit is your sapper.
That is fun.
So you're charging it. You lose your unit. Your unit goes in. It's dead. But you also take out a section of the castle.
I wonder, what is the wounds characteristics of Scourge Runner Chariot units? just thinking about it here. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Scourge Runner Chariots, 240 points, 6 wounds each. I can do a unit.
But unfortunately, you can't have sappers, my friend. You are not Stormcast, Chaos, Destruction, or Death.
Oh, you're right.
Ooh.
What if I ally in Stormcast to just run up and die? Obviously, they'll figure it out.
There you go. You could do it that way.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Unit of Liberators. They're going in. If you anybody who sees a unit of Liberators in
Chuck's army, kill them.
Attack, shoot those first. So then we get the next pages is the battles. So this is the battle plan generator.
Super fun.
So
it's in the white dwarf.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in it, it's the battle plan generator 3.0. Go Google it.
Yep.
It's there.
Or just click on the link and bring up this document.
Mm-hmm. Then we go on to multiple attackers gameplay. This just kind of discusses if you have 4 people in a single game, how does that work? Yep. It's essentially the same rules I made up for bars for what do you want to call it? What's the 4-player?
Triumph and Treachery style.
Triumph and Treachery. There we go. Jesus Christ. I'm losing.
You're getting tired. It's okay.
Uh-huh.
Dave can handle these long shows. Neil, not so much.
Yeah. I've had a lot of wine as well.
There we go.
So after that, we go to Artifacts and Spells of Gyron. These are just basic artifacts, basic spells that you can add by doing the appropriate quests to get them.
Yep. Super
fun.
And
if we want to flip over to the next one, this is where this is the cool shit. Yeah. Realmstone artifacts. All right. So for each continent, there are 4 basically like mega weapons that you can get. So
yep.
You got the Jade Crown. At the end of every turn, heal D3 wounds allocated to this hero. End of every turn. So whoever's got that one, that's a talisman. So you can combine these as well. But to get one, you have to run the quest that is appropriate to try and get it. Everybody may be trying to run this quest. You better hope you roll well for initiative that turn that you get it.
Exactly.
If you don't, so too bad, so sad. You spent this entire time trying to get this item, and unfortunately somebody else found it. All right, so we got some Indiana Jones shit going on here. Make sure you get the arc before the next person. Right. So there's a Thistlewood sword that gives you 6 attacks, 3 plus 2 plus, -4 rend, damage 2.
Great.
So these are things that will replace your profile for your champion or for your hero. All right, just replaces the melee profile.
Then you have an archer version of
Dag
that.
bow. We got a really cool bow, but it's the archer class only. So if you don't take an archer, can't get this one. If you do take an archer and nobody else is taking an archer, you're gonna have a really easy path to this bad boy.
Yeah, there you go.
So, all right, and then the Spider Silk Cloak. This is an armor. It basically helps you so that spells have a harder time affecting you.
Which is super fun, especially if it's got a Zinch on the table.
So, these are 4 artifacts. If we choose to do this again in the future, I'll try to add some more. This can kind of get champions a little wonky, so you got to be careful with making it too crazy.
That's the intention, though, because if one guy gets super crazy, you might have multiple people coming after you.
Right, and going into your hexes where the champion may not be. Right, so it's only whatever hex the champion's in is where this benefit's going to come. It's not going to be every battle. So.
It's just like Napoleon; he can't be everywhere at once, so they decided to fight everywhere where he wasn't.
There it is. Next thing you can do, if you don't want to go after the big items to improve your hero, what you can do is there are what's called Wonders of Gyren. So these are improvements that you can make to basic hexes that give you a huge bonus to your empire. Right, so we got the Tree of Life. Anytime a hero or champion would take an injury roll, roll a dice on a 3+, the hero champion does not have to roll on the injury chart. Here's one. Ironwood Forest. Defenses built out of ironwood can hold back even the most devastating foes. Increase the GP cost of invading all hexes owned by your empire by 1.
Great.
Right. So now people are going to have to pay a whole lot more. They have to decide: do I want to pay more to attack Chuck, or am I just going to go attack Bob over here, who's worthless?
Yeah.
All right. Scrying pool. Scouting can be performed without paying GP, and you may scout 1 additional hex per turn.
That's going to be a hot item to get, I feel.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Because remember, that actually takes out bonuses, takes out negatives, all that kind of shit. So finds ambushes, all that. Resurrection Stone. Gain 1 extra renown per turn, and any hero who has died may be resurrected by paying 3 GP. The hero returns with all injuries healed. So
I'm gonna call this. If you use this, that still doesn't count towards your Scarred Veteran Award or whatever it was. No, you use this once, boom, you're back to 0, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Storm Vault. Let's see. Each turn you control this improvement, roll a dice. On the roll of a 5+, add an enhancement to your vault. You may choose from spells, artifacts in this book, or any enhancements from your battle tome. You may not choose Realm Stone artifacts. So basically, you find a cache of weapons, and you roll a dice every turn. If you roll hot, you could be getting an artifact without doing the quests every turn.
It's great.
Right. So Pure Aqua Gyranus. Gain an extra 2 GP per turn in your Aftermath sequence. So just getting richer.
And while you say that, I just want to give a quick shout out if anyone who's played Soulbound. I'm showing you the picture of the book, even though it's not on screen. Do you remember, Neil, what the abbreviation of Aqua Gyranus is in the realms?
The abbreviation?
Like what you get, like US a dollar, it's USD, right? Canadian CAD. Aqua Gyranus is abbreviated, according to Soulbound, which is an official lore thing, to D. Just the letter D.
D?
Yes.
Okay.
So make sure when you're handing out the D, you very clearly say, hey, I'll give you 20 D to not attack me.
Yeah, 20 D. I'll give you all the D to not attack me.
Yes.
I love it. Last one is Hidden Pathways. Your hero may move to any hex that you control in your Aftermath step.
That is great.
So that's a really good one because you get threatened somewhere and you need that extra, the champions are free, right? So you could have bonuses plus a champion on top of that.
Champion's going to be I'd say anywhere between 120 to 200 points of value, easy.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I mean, later on, probably worth a lot more than that
That's
even.
true.
So,
Yeah, that's true.
all right. So now we go in the character creator, which is all the maps. So you can go take a look at that. Then we spin into Path to Glory, into the book here, which kind of has things X'd out, so you can kind of find your way through the Path to Glory rules we're reading.
Yep.
Anything in these Path to Glory rules, I've added to the page.
Yep.
So,
We're hurrying through this last bit here. No worries. No worries.
yeah. And then we have some scenarios. So, sudden assault, the trap. These are different Path to Glory scenarios themselves.
Yep.
Hold or die that you can choose.
They're kind of ones that you're gonna see. Like it makes sense. Like if you're ambushed, you're in the trap. Like this
Right.
is like ones everybody will use. It's worth
Yeah.
having. Yeah.
And my hope is people kind of think of it narratively that way and play the correct scenario, right?
Yeah.
Say, hey, this is happening, so why don't we play this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we go on to narratives. Starting out with Chuck's, we got Matt's narrative in here, along with his bullshit vampire that destroyed me in your event.
Yep.
Event. We got my Nurgle. We got Mike Keel's narrative in here. Dave Roke's got a little narrative in there.
Yep.
And then
Craig Lewis.
Craig Lewis is in here as well. Yeah, Craig Lewis's Slanesh is in here.
Then boom, a nice appendix. I love this. I love this so much. This is where the care and love is in.
Yep. And so this is where, like, if you want to go access, like, okay, here's the GP costs of all the different things. It's right there.
Recommend scenarios.
And after that, there's a recommend scenarios and reference. So, hey, maybe look at running these type of scenarios. And then we get into just, the character, basically your stat sheet and everything for your empire and kind of
hero roster. And then the little grid for
little hex grid.
And then little outro. Book has been created as a Hex Map campaign supplement for Age of Sigmar 3rd Edition. It's intended as a narrative gaming system that allows players to create a story around a hero who will grow in power and forge an empire in the lands of Gyran. During your games, you may gain resources, level up your hero, forge alliances, and gain or lose ground for your empire. Some empires will rise, others will fall. Will you become the ultimate power of your continent, or will the empire fade in the ruins of history? Boom! Why aren't you writing for GW? All right? That's it. That's what we want right there.
All right, that's it.
All right, so now we will try and get us back on screen here. Hopefully. And minimize that. Bring us back here. See if I did this right. 3, put the talking heads. Boom! We're back, Neil. Look at that. We did it just fine.
All right, my excellent beard is back.
So is mine.
Cherish it. Worship it.
Love it.
Best beard in Warhammer right
here. Dave. There's Dave down in Ashcon. I think he has that.
Sorry. I don't know, man. He doesn't have this gray, this distinguished gray. You need some distinguished gray.
That's fair. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? Comment below. If you agree or disagree with Neil, make sure you like and subscribe and share this with your friends.
And then sub my OnlyFans. Yeah.
Yeah, sub to no his OB, his only beards. Yes. But no, like this. Thank you for also gifting me a copy of this book, by the way, Neil. Like,
yeah, multiple of them.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm looking forward to it. I hope I get time to play in it for our first one. I'll figure.
You got a month.
That's future Chuck's worry. We'll get it though. But no, Neil. I mean, kudos, because this is. People don't realize how much effort you've put into many supplements for your events, and then this. Like, this is why you're on this podcast with me, and this is why we're such good friends, because you and I are the same person. You think of something, and you make it happen no matter what, and everybody has to join you.
Get out of the head. If I get something in my head, it has to come out.
Yep. And everybody jumps in and enjoys it because of all that. So, yeah, kudos to you. This is an endeavor, and I look forward to playing in it, and give me an excuse to paint my city's army once this other stuff is done in 10 days.
And if listeners, if you've made it this far, cheers to you.
Yep.
So, this drink is for you.
But yeah, no. Neil, any parting words before I close it out about your supplement, about anything?
No, I just hope everybody has a good time with this. So it's been a labor of love, and I can't wait to see whether it works out. We'll see. Hopefully, Old World does not fully derail
So
this campaign. I was telling Chuck, I said, this is the most ill-timed
well,
campaign in history.
you started
So,
writing this well before we had a hint of a date. First off,
right. Right. We
secondly,
kind of thought, and and like even I said, like way back in the day, if you go back to a previous show, like Big M had me on, and I was just like, I am not interested in Old World. I am for Age of Sigmar. This is better. This is better than it ever was, and
got him.
I'm pretty excited about Old World as well. So, but
Well,
we're gonna play some Sigmar as well. We can do both.
two things. Two things I want to say. One, when I was talking to the crew locally about this to get commitment for the people who are definitely Old World focused, I was like, all right, who's interested in doing this? Because it's next week we're starting it. This is what it is. It's once a month, all that. Even the people who were like, I am so excited for Old World, you'd have no idea. Every single one of them was just like, there has been so much effort put into this because of the supplement and for the boards created. There is no way we are not playing this. We are in, no matter what. It's like there's been so much love and sweat and tears put into this that no, we are playing Sigmar for this year. And secondly, as like someone like me who like I still love Age of Sigmar. I love Old World Fantasy. I love Sigmar. This means that I will always get a game of Sigmar in once a month. Worst
Perfect.
case, if I'm like super Old World, there'll be 1 day, 2 days where I'm just like, Sigmar baby, get it back out.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
Now, granted, I might be like, suddenly the cities died. They were overrun by daughters of Cain or something. I don't know.
You know what? Here's the thing. Like, I have narrative in this book as well for Nurgle.
Mhm.
I still thought about changing to Caradron. I'm like, you know what? It's not over. I can choose whatever I want before the start date. I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Here's
So
here's the thing.
have your fun.
Here's the thing, Neil. I have in mind. You remember how Anvilgard fell?
Mm-hmm.
Like slowly, subtly. Maybe I just ally in a Daughter's Cain unit, and then as I lose a unit to wounds, another Daughter's Cain unit just helps out. And like at some point, without realizing it, they've taken over the city, and I'll run them as cities of Sigmar allies, so they'll get no bonuses. But I'll be running my cities, but it's just full Daughters of Cain stuff.
That's too fun. Or
Might
you
do
just
that.
what do you call it? You proxy it, right? So
We'll see. We'll see. I'm excited for it either way because yes, long labor love. I can't wait for it. Also, like I can't wait for Old World. So next week, for episode 80, we'll have a special guest on. Me and Neil will be talking Old World with them. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. We'll see how long it goes. Depends on their time as the guest. They kind of dictate that. It'll at least be an hour, but it'll be a good time. But yeah, everybody out there, I hope you're excited. I hope you're ready for Saturday. May the odds be ever in your favor, as always. Check the links below for this supplement that Neil created, and also happy hobby and stay Stormcast strong.